Hey guys, welcome to Beer Snob Weekly, episode number 10. So, while we wait for everybody to join in, today we are doing a show on a part of California, San Francisco, California, San Francisco Bay, and today's guest is Beer Shark. Whoop whoop! Alright, let's get the show going. All right, how's everybody doing tonight? Good, I hope, on this Wednesday. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good. I just got back from Hawaii.
Very nice. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I can't believe you're just back from Hawaii and now you're on the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. While we're waiting for everybody else to join, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, what you're drinking tonight.
Hey, my name's Keith. I run the Instagram account Beer Shark or Beer_Shark. And I live in San Francisco. I mostly feature a lot of Northern California beers, but I do drink some Southern California stuff as well, and I trade a lot too. So the rest of the whole United States.
So everybody
So
looking to trade, we know where to go to, right?
so I've been trying to scale it back a bit because sometimes it kind of gets a little out of hand. And yes, you kind of sometimes end up with more than you can drink. And a lot of today's beers are really kind of like drink it now.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
with the IPAs. Yeah.
yeah.
You got like a 3-month-old can and it's like borderline, is it good? Is it not good? So what are you drinking tonight?
I thought I'd start off with Fieldworks Pulp, which is kind of like their Citra IPA.
Okay, awesome. And where is it that they're located?
Fieldwork has a lot of locations here in NorCal. They were originally located in Berkeley, but they have a location just south of me that I go to a lot in San Mateo, which is like right off the highway. So that's kind of like their Silicon Valley. Yeah, I guess like catering to the Silicon Valley people. But they also have one all the way north in Sacramento. That's like Sacramento's about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of us. And they have, I think they have another location somewhere else too. And Monterey, really far south. Kind of over by where Alvarado Street is. And I think they might even have one more. But the one I go to the most is Berkeley and San Mateo.
Nice. Tonight, yeah, I wanted to see the color on that. Can you put that up close a little bit? Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that glass too. That's a new one, right?
Yeah, this is a nice glass. Yeah, it's a Fieldwork glass.
Nice. Tonight I am drinking Hudson Valley Incandenza. Oh, I love the shark. There's a shark. That's the real star, right? The shark?
Yeah, I put them in the majority of all the photos.
I love that. I love that. So I'm drinking a sour IPA tonight. Have you had anything from Hudson Valley?
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Hudson Valley. I think I've actually even had that exact one.
Really?
There's many that I haven't had from Hudson Valley, but I have had that one. I do have a hard time remembering what they all are. I should probably check into them on Untappd a little bit more
So you are
to help me keep. I am.
Very nice.
I think on Untappd I'm SF. I think I'm SF Beer Shark. I think that's what I changed it to so people could find it easier. I would look it up on my phone, but I'm like, I'm on the phone because I just looked now. I'm like, oh, I'll look it up on my phone,
Right.
but we're using it.
Oh,
So I think on Untappd I'm SF Beer Shark. I was all one word,
okay.
so people could
I
find
mean,
me.
yeah, we'll do a post after the show, so you can drop your Untappd name there. I'm actually considered making an Untappd. Well, I have one. I'm thinking about going actually and using it. I think I maybe have like 2 beers logged, but I've heard really good things of how they're making it a lot easier to use and whatnot. So maybe I'll join back again.
Yeah, it's a good. I like the app. It helps you remember. For a period of time, I was kind of checking into beers I didn't like, so I remember them better. So I remember not to have them again.
So check that
But
one.
yeah. But even that, I I kind of even fell away with doing that. My name on Untappd is Beer Shark SF, not the other way around. So it's Beer Shark SF.
Got it.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, tell us more about how you got into beer, how you got the account started and stuff like that, the whole shark idea. Oh, I had to ask you another question before that. Did you like my Baby Shark song on my last story?
I'm not the bit. I don't have any kids or any children, so I was a little late to the I guess the Baby Shark trend.
Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of the kid song, I guess, but people enjoy it and they have fun with it.
But it's not like the original version. It's the Trap Baby Shark version.
Oh, so it's like the adult version.
I mean,
I remember there was a Baby Shark beer made by Aslan in kind of the DC area.
Aslan is in North Carolina.
No, DC area, I think. I've been there.
Aslan?
But yeah, they're just outside Washington D.C. and they made a Baby Shark beer, and like I got it, but I ended up not taking photos of it and photographing it because I didn't want the whole Baby Shark thing to keep rolling. So I was like, well, if I did that, I would be encouraging it.
Yeah.
So. But I remember having it in shares with people. Because I had a 4-pack of it. I'd bring that beer to shares a lot.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, so tell me more about the account, how you got it started, where the shark idea came from, and all that.
So how it started was kind of random and by accident. I picked the name after many Instagram names didn't work. So I guess names that I was picking just when I randomly joined Instagram weren't working, and then I was like, well, I'll think of what I'm going to use for my profile photo, and I was going to use this photo of a shark drinking a beer. Okay. It's a mural in New York City on the outside of Spring Lounge, okay, which I used to go to a lot with my friend. So I was like, I'll use that as my profile photo, and that's what I just used as the name. And in the very beginning, I didn't even really post beers, okay, and I would go to like Instagram meets, and people would explain me to Instagram. They would be like, you have to have a theme, you have to have a niche, and they're like, your name is Beer Shark, and you don't post beers. So I then was like, well, I do drink beers, so it wasn't hard to do that. Right. So I just then started posting all the beers I would drink during the day.
Okay.
So
when you say what like the previous names weren't working, what do you mean by working? Do you mean like
they were just taken? Like originally, I just wanted my name. You know what I mean? Like originally, it was like a personal account. I didn't even have intentions of making it like a themed account in the very beginning. It was just to get on Instagram. So when I moved to San Francisco, everybody used Instagram as a form of communication, which was like new to me. So this was like 5 years ago, and so I was like, I need to get on this so people can DM, because like I would be like, oh, this is like I think I wanted them to use, I think it was like the Google version of DM, and they're like, nobody uses that here.
Yeah. You're talking about Google Chats, right?
Yeah, I think at the time it was called Google Talk, like Google Yeah, Google programs constantly fail and no one uses them, and they constantly rebrand them. So I think at the time it might have been still Google Talk. I don't know, but everyone was like, "No, I don't use that. I'm not going to be on that." So.
Gotcha. All right. So I mean, you're approaching 10,000 followers soon. What are your plans for the account? Like, do you have shark merchandise? Like, do you brew? Like, what's the whole goal behind the account?
Hmm. That's what I guess I'm still in a work in progress. I am getting up, like you said, close to 10K. I am working with like another community account here in like San Francisco called like Hop Bay
Okay.
Area. Um, so I was gonna try and also get Hop Bay Area a lot more followers, and we wanted to do like beer shares in the area in San
That'd be
Francisco
pretty.
and bringing people together like so we can like hang out.
I love that idea. Now,
Yeah.
how long ago did you start getting into the craft beer scene, and like, what were some of the first beers you had to be introduced to the scene?
Hmm. Well, I want to say I got into beers that weren't American domestic, probably like 2001, but that was like Europeans. Like I was really into like German and Belgians.
Mm.
And then I would go to the store and I would also be a big wine purchaser. And like I remember going to like a wine store and the guy was like, "Do you drink American craft beer?" And I'm like, "Not really. Like I don't know, Sam Adams, you know." And they're like, "Oh no, there's a lot of other ones besides that that are just like starting out." So I think I got into like American craft beer in like 2006. I was living on the East Coast at the time, so at the time I lived in New Jersey. So in New Jersey we had Flying Fish, and we had Victory in Pennsylvania,
Oh, right.
Trogs in Pennsylvania, and Dogfish Head in Delaware. And Dogfish Head in Delaware was kind of like my favorite. They always did stuff that was a little bit more
Hops.
out there. Yeah, and I started homebrewing in 2006 too. So I always kind of like their weird random ingredients that they used to always use.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you still currently homebrew now?
So I moved to San Francisco 5 years ago, and where I originally lived, I didn't have the room, and it was a very wooded apartment, and my windows barely open. So I thought like boiling wort wouldn't be the best thing. So no, I didn't homebrew for 5 years, and then just about 2, 3 weeks ago I started again. But now I'm in a different space, so I have a lot more room and I have a lot more space. So got back into it like just a few weeks
Nice.
ago.
Are you doing extract brewing or all grain?
That first brew that we brewed was an extract, but when I lived back in New Jersey, I had done like everything. Like I used to be a member of a couple brew
Oh,
clubs,
nice.
so we had like a lot of really big brews, and we did all grain brews, and I did a bunch of everything back then. So I'm looking forward more to getting into more all grain stuff, so I have a little bit more control over, especially the color of the
Right.
beer. I think you get like a big benefit you get with all grain. Yeah.
Right. Also, a lot of extra work, but at the end, all worth it, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a hobby. It's fun to like have that step, you know.
Yeah, for sure. So what about some of your favorite breweries around the area where you are currently?
Hmm. So definitely on top of the list, if you're going to San Francisco, I would say my favorite is like Cellar Maker.
Okay. I had some.
Which I live in Soma, so like they're the closest by.
Okay.
Um, Another really good one is Bear Bottle. It's in Bernal Heights. Little bit of a random neighborhood. It's not much of a hangout neighborhood. It's kind of more of a family people live there neighborhood. But I've been going there more. And we have Fieldwork that's in Berkeley, or for me, San Mateo. I'm also a really big fan of getting in my car and driving to Santa Rosa,
Okay.
and you got Russian River. You have the original brew pub and the whole brand new facility that Vinny just built that opened the end of last year, which is huge and amazing. And around them, they also have Hen House, which is a small brewery that's nice, and I can't think of the name. Is it Cooperage? I think it's Cooperage. And they also have the original spot for Lagunitas is kind of in that area.
Oh, nice.
I know some people don't really like them anymore because they sold out with Heineken, but they still the original spot's still the exact same it was. It was a really cool beer garden, so I'll still check them out every once in a while, especially since their bar always has like special variants that you can't get anywhere else, which is kind of neat. So
That is still pretty cool. So what about one of the what about one of the small breweries, maybe something brand new, something up and coming that maybe people don't really know about because they're not really on the forefront of Instagram?
I want to say Moxa just as a quick answer, but I feel like they get a lot of play on Instagram. So I feel like Instagram people are pretty knowledgeable of them. I want to say non-Instagram people probably aren't knowledgeable of them. So I think there's like that two separate worlds of like really big on Instagram versus like you talk to regular craft beer people that aren't on Instagram, they'll be like, huh, what? Like I know that bowl thing was really big on Instagram and like never found it anywhere else. Anyone else even knew about it. Like they'd be like, there's certain things that only exist on Instagram, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I want to say Moxa is probably really up and coming, but they're pretty big on Instagram people. People are kind of familiar with them.
What about the craziest beer,
the
craziest beer that people, that you're trading with, that they're always looking for? What is that, what brewery is that, or what beer in particular is it that people are just like, I need that?
In this area, like, because I want to feel like
just in general from California that they're asking you for.
Well, I am a Moxa member, so I feel like that is something I do get asked for, because they kind of do have that thing on Instagram. I get asked, I guess, a lot for randomly will be Monkish, but I live in North Cal, so I don't get like. The Monkish I kind of get from my own like personal consumption. Like I don't try to get a whole bunch of Monkish to trade. Like that would be just too many middlemen to like deal with to do that. Like you know what I mean? But I probably get asked about it a lot.
I was just gonna ask, what about Pliny? Is that like?
I do. I would say. Because I also have on my Instagram, not that I don't take new traders, so I think I might squash a little bit of like people randomly DMing me about that. But people are.
But you are in fact wide open. Am I right?
Am I open? I try to scale back my trades. I kind of only trade selectively with people that I already trust or kind of like have a friendly thing with. It's a lot of work to take on a lot of new people and a lot of newbies, and
apparently you are the shiz. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, well thanks. I mean, I do try hard. Like it is like drinking craft beer is a huge hobby of mine. So, and like I really like the craft beer community, and I really like the people in the craft beer community. Like I just went to Hawaii randomly on like I got like a really cheap last minute airfare buy, so I just went, which is funny because I actually came back and I had like boxes of stuff of mail that I was not able to like tell them to like not send before I left.
So you come home and there's like a ton of stuff at your door.
Yeah, I actually probably should. I'm gonna do a post on it. I think there's like at least 5 or 6 boxes that were out there on the door when I came back. So, but I had went to Inu Ales.
Okay.
And they on the island, it's an awesome spot. And the brewer Kyle, he's an awesome guy to hang out with, and like everybody that was at that brewery were amazing, and we were just all hanging out and all talking. Like that place was like right on the nerve of like what is happening right now in craft beer. So I thought that was really cool, and it was all just random. I didn't really plan it to go there. Like I kind of maybe a day before was a little bit in DMs with somebody, but yeah.
That's pretty cool that you were able to just pick up and go. Were you there before? Had you visited or no?
No, that was my first visit to Hawaii.
That is pretty cool. What is the furthest you've traveled for a brewery?
For a brewery, like that was the initial
Yeah, I mean,
intent.
like, we all travel, right? Beercation. It's like, all right, we're in
Yeah.
here. We're gonna make sure we hit all these spots, or like at least attempt to. You know,
I guess mine would have to be just I just went to Hawaii. That's a long flight. I
how many
mean,
hours was that for
I
you?
went.
How many
What?
hours was that for you?
It was weird because I was trying like not to pay attention to it, but I definitely watched at least 2.5 movies.
Okay,
So I want to say the flight was probably 5 hours, maybe
okay,
6.
that's not
Yeah.
that's kind of long.
So, and I guess last year I flew to Virginia specifically just to go to breweries. Like that was the main thing I
What?
was
Now,
doing
can
on
you
that
mention
trip.
some of those breweries that you went to?
Yeah, I went to the Answer in Richmond, Virginia, and I also attempted to go to the Vale, but they were closed because I unluckily got hit with a hurricane.
Mm,
So there was a random hurricane that had hit that area just as I was landing, and it's really, really unlucky because that area is like 100 miles inland. Like it's not even the
right.
coastal. Richmond, Virginia is nowhere near the coast. So for them to be hit with a hurricane is like super bad luck. It's like so they were closed because of the
Whale
hurricane.
shark is coming. Watch out.
Yeah, yeah. But I also got to go to Hardywood, which they kind of make that ginger beer stout. I think like people might know them the most for
Okay.
that. But their tap room was pretty nice. I think that was a satellite tap room that I ended up at in Charlottesville. But I really enjoyed it. I really liked it.
Pretty cool. What are some of the beers that you look most for from the East Coast? Some of your favorites?
Hmm. Well, I used to live in the New Jersey area, just south of like New York
Hmm.
City. So I gotta say, other half. Like they're just a big favorite. They make some of the best beers, and they're always consistently good. Like you never have to like worry or pick certain ones with other half. Like everything has always been really good.
Nice. I guess I'm that much more luckier that I'm in Queens, right?
That you
That I
what?
live in Queens, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's so much good. There's so much good beer coming out of like New York City, Long Island area, like Root and
yes.
Branch, and
I just went to their beer release 2 weeks ago, I think it
like,
was. Good stuff. What about like up Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire?
I've traded for that. I when I used to be on the East Coast, I had friends that would go skiing, and they would always bring it back. Like that was like the benefit of them going, I
Right.
guess, was they would get that and always bring it back. So I've actually never been.
Wow.
It's always kind of like been on my to-do list to go explore like actual proper New England. So I definitely drank them, but I've never been there.
Hmm. What about like Bissell Brothers, Trillium, Treehouse, all the teas?
I mean, I like them a lot. I've gotten them in trades, or my friends have actually gone there and they just give them to me.
I
So
saw a post, I want to say a day or two ago. I don't remember who posted it, but they were like, that Julius beer was shit.
well, I mean, I'm not on the pulse of that. I just kind of know what I've seen on Instagram. Like my friends that go, they don't go. They don't. They're not local. Like they always went when they would go on skiing, or they would go, for like looking at the leaves and stuff during the
Right.
fall. So what they also get was also kind of random. I heard there was a slip in quality at Treehouse. All the ones I've ever gotten recently, I didn't really think so. I don't know how much of that is. There's like you have to say something. So all right, I've said this is good a million times. Now I have to say it's not good. I don't know. Certain. I also wonder if it's like I mean like they were the forerunners of like that style,
Right.
and now we're getting like triple beers that are triple dry hopped and you know what I mean? Like we just keep building, you know,
Right.
and then you go back to Julius.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, are you compare? Is it shit because it's shit compared to other Julius, or is it shit compared to like all these other triples and triple dry hops and all this other, you know?
Right.
So
It's like when you go back and you have, you know, even like Hetty Topper, you know, when you compare that style to, let's say, Other Half or Bissell Brothers or, you know, anybody else, and you have double dry hopped and all these, you know, really strong boozy IPAs, you know, of course it's going to be different in that style. You know, it's almost like comparing like an East Coast to West Coast style. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, I've also heard the same thing here in like our local area. Like we have Russian River, and people are like, "Oh, the Pliny's not as good as it was like 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 2 years ago." Like you pick a point in time, and I don't know. Like I don't know how you can accurately rate it against your memory. You know what I mean? So sometimes I wonder if it's just like a humble brag of I've drank this beer for so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like I can rate it. I can rate it against like going this many years back, and it's not as good as then. You know, it's also really hard to rate things against your memory. Your memory is always probably better than what it was. You know what I mean? Like especially if you have fond memories, right?
But also your palate changes over time, right? Like,
Yeah, that's the other thing.
you know, like
Yeah, a palate.
I tried beers back then, and like we're like, oh, this is gross, you know, and then you know you try them a little bit more down the line, and you're like, oh, okay, this is good, this works, and then vice versa. You know, I tried something that I thought was amazing, you know, 4 years ago, and now I'm trying it, and I'm like, I don't know, like you know, your palate definitely for sure changes, especially with all of the hops. Like I feel like the hops just kind of blind.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like sometimes different hop years yield better hops than other years. So I think that could come into play. I mean, breweries do miss too. Like I've definitely had beers that I've like would have liked, and then like one time it'd be like, oh, this one tastes off.
Right.
But there's so many good beers that I think like you can really pick ones that you want to champion and you want to talk about. Like I don't really spend much time on ones that are bad. You know what I mean? I don't. If you don't like Julius anymore, then just move on to something else. There's so many other things, you know, that are going on.
What's something new you've had? Maybe from like a new state, or just maybe something from a newer brewery that you were like, wow, this is really good. Does not have to be within California, anywhere.
Well, just recently on that trip, I went to Inu Ales, and they had a bunch of, I guess they call it like punch. They had like crowlers
Okay.
that you can take with you. But yeah, they made like this like goes fruit flavors that I thought were really cool, and I thought were like really like relaxing and nice to drink. Yeah.
Very nice. Cool can.
This one is it's I don't know if it's focusing.
Oh yeah, but it's backwards.
So this one's Island Goose, it's Island Punch, it's Hawaiian sea salt, pomegranate, and coconut. And I'm not the biggest coconut fan, and I really like this.
Nice.
So it was pretty like melded together really nicely.
So since you're familiar with home brewing, how do you feel with some of the breweries like throwing in pineapple juice or fruit punch or Gatorade or, you know, things like that?
I mean, as a home brewer, that stuff is fun, but from like a commercial side of it, it's kind of marketing. Like, so I feel like people that homebrew a lot might know that more than people that don't really homebrew. Like, a lot of random stuff that you would probably throw in, like cereal, you know, doesn't ferment. It or it probably doesn't add the flavors like you know, soaking cereal. Like almost kind of imagine if you make like they do this with like grains, right? Like you soak your grains to try and see what the wort will taste
Right.
like. So imagine if you soak Captain Crunch in water and you drink that water, it just tastes like sugar. It's not really gonna.
Right.
It's not like you're gonna be able to tell the difference between all these like nuances. So a lot of times I feel like it's to put like a marketing name on it, which is fun in itself too. I mean, like I've seen a lot of creative photos because of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I have like the three different sides of me. I have like the home brewer, the photographer, and the actual beer drinker. So the photographer part is really fun, right? Like, because those are fun and interesting photos you can make with it. Because it's like it gives you like a springboard to jump off with. You're like, oh, this has this weird, unique ingredient in it, and I can like do that.
Right.
So
yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes you're not sure if they're actually dumping the juice in there or if they're just using like the word slipping me.
Yeah, like the rinds or something,
yeah. So yeah, but I do agree. Interesting photos like the Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles, Pancake Stacks, all that's really fun.
And when I was in like homebrew clubs, like there were definitely guys that were like doing that like 10 years back. And I remember there was like, there was the conflict of guys that were like, what are you doing? And other guys were like, oh, this is fun. Let's see where it goes. So it's kind of non-traditional brewing. I mean, also it kind of harkens back to even like when I first got into like craft with like Dogfish Head like loved putting in ingredients that nobody else could put in.
Kind of
so,
like the ones paving the way of like throwing weird stuff in, just seeing, what would happen.
But I feel like now, currently in the current craft beer thing, is like they really like to throw in like stuff that's nostalgic or already has like a following. Right. So it's like, oh, you like Reese's Pieces? This is Reese's Pieces. Right. You like cereal? That's what I mean. It's that. I feel like they're trying to like lean on some other brand a little bit to try and get you to get into their brand more so than like we made a decision of this is the best thing for our best beer.
Do you feel like that's cheating or that's really good marketing?
I mean, it's just currently what it is. So yeah. I mean, you're ever gonna be in the school of like this is stupid and I hate it, or you're on board with it. I guess like I'm on board with it to a certain extent. You know what I mean? Like this is just how we are right now in the craft beer thing, and I'm riding with it.
Where
so.
Do you think, and this will be like maybe the last question because we're running out of time. Where do you think the craft beer scene is moving towards now? Like, what do you think is next?
That's a hard question because I even was thinking about that. Like, where do we go from here? Especially like a lot of breweries are brewing like Russian Imperial stouts and like triples like Itchik and Everyday Tuesday.
Right.
And those used to be the anniversary beers. Right. Those used to be the once in a while, once a year release beers. So I don't know. I feel like we are kind of like blending things a little bit more. I feel like mead's getting growing like a popularity. Cider's kind of growing in popularity. I'm seeing like wine and beer hybrids. So maybe those things getting a little bit higher might be the future. I don't know, like more ciders, more beer wine hybrids, because I feel they may not have gotten to the top where they are. But with actual beer, yeah, we've done a lot of stuff. Right? I don't know where you could really go. Yeah.
Kind of gotten crazy with all the hops, right?
Well, that too. Like IPA is kind of like taken over everything. Like everything is an IPA or has to be something of an IPA.
Right. Or even if it's not an IPA, it can still be dry hopped.
Yeah. Which is kind of interesting. Like the dry hop styles that never were dry hopped before. Right. Like dry hopping wheat beers or dry hopping saisons or dry hopping sours. So, yes, it's interesting.
So, do you think there'll ever be a cider shark?
Spider shark?
No, cider.
Oh, a cider shark? I don't really drink ciders too much, but I don't have anything against not trying them. Like, so I have done a few posts. They're few and far between on ciders. But there's actually a cidery I think it's South San Francisco that it's been on my list to like go there. Yeah.
Cool. I'll be waiting to see. All right. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show, spending time, especially after coming back from Hawaii. I know you wanted to participate in the giveaway.
Yeah.
Did you want to tell everybody?
Yeah, I was gonna do a giveaway. We partnered with you. I was away in Hawaii, so I haven't really had a chance to get many beers. So I'm still in a little bit of a hunt to find what beers are going to come from here. So definitely one of them will probably be one that I just had today, Pulp.
Awesome.
From Fieldwork, which is kind of like what their basic classic, I guess. That like we were kind of saying, they've scaled up and they've made this beer a little bit bigger. But this was like one of the first ones that really got my eye on Fieldwork was Pulp, like just a Citra IPA. But yeah, I'm gonna be adding to that a few more cans, and we'll do a giveaway.
All right.
Of stuff from the San Francisco Bay Area.
I'll wait for your graphics, and then we'll put up a nice post, and we'll share with everybody. Yes, and don't forget the shark. All right. Last thing, we got to do our cheers for our picture. So we're just gonna stay still for a few seconds. And then somebody will capture a picture, send it to us, and then we can post all about it. Ready? Cheers. Perfect. I know, right? Only if I could capture a screenshot at the same time, right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah. I'm glad my phone like stayed vertical and didn't fall down or anything. I have it like propped up with magnets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I used like a steel table with magnets to like hold it.
That's so funny. Today I'm using a Lysol wipes, a candle, and then a bicycle holder. Fancy, right? All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the show. Beer Snob Weekly, San Francisco, and we'll talk afterwards. Thanks again. Good night.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining.